digo, igual no quiero cargar mucho. Una flechita. Hola, hola, hola. Vale, perfecto.
Sí, sigue evidente.
A ver.
Hi everyone, we will begin the event in 5 minutes, okay?
Vale, espera, no, para que no se vea. Siamo desde allí. ¿Has hecho el test? ¿Por qué no? Abajo el test, si no podíamos
Vale,
hacer un test y decir que...
estamos, they can hear us.
Yo sí que oye.
Hi everyone, we are really excited to have here Davide Rovira, the manager of the eWorks, that will present how the eWorks work, how you can use it as Esade students, and then he will present the acceleration and incubation programs. Afterwards, we will have Tim Guyot, that is an Esade alumni that has used Esade Works. And finally, we will end up with your questions. So there you go, Davide. Thank you very much.
Thanks everybody for joining online. So this is the format, as you know, and welcome to the event. I think we are as well recording, just so that everybody knows. Let me see that. Move it forward. Okay. So first thing first, what's eWorks? What are we talking about? So eWorks is the Esade Venture Creation Program, meaning that it's a way to support all of you into starting, building, and growing your own project. Okay. One core thing that's super important, I will repeat it more times, but it's very clear from the beginning. This is not only for students, it's for you as well after you graduate. So in a year from now, 2, 3 years, maybe you go work somewhere else, no matter where, can be a consulting company, can be an investment fund, can be your own startup, whatever it is. If you later on need support in building your own company, you can always come back to eWorks. That's one core thing. The other core thing is that it's not only for Esade students and graduates, regardless of which program they belong to, but as well for any team in which at least one person fulfills those requirements. So if you're working with somebody that, maybe if you're in a master program and you know somebody from your undergrad degree and you want to build a company with them, you can always come to eWorks and we can support. So this just as a core kind of introduction. Anything that you will hear from now onward is not only for you while you're studying, but as well later on. What do we do? So formally, eWorks is part of what is called the Esade Entrepreneurship Institute, which is a larger institution that supports venture creation, not only proactively, as we do with eWorks, but as well for research and other activities. Today, we're going to focus on what is the active part of venture creation, so specifically what eWorks does for you. The core principle is that we support any kind of new project as long as there is the potential for high growth, high impact. Doesn't matter the industry, doesn't matter the market, doesn't matter the geography, doesn't matter if it's for profit, not for profit, double bottom line, triple, quadruple bottom line, anything works, but the core is that there is the potential to achieve a high impact, okay? So if the idea is to have very small, very local business, that's totally fine. We can provide some resources, but the core of the support goes to anybody that's willing to build something big. Most importantly, and this is the core idea, what do we do with eWorks and how can you access all the services? The core kind of offering from eWorks is divided into 3 areas. We have inspiration, incubation, and acceleration. Now, the inspirational part is available to everybody. So all of you, all of your colleagues, you can always join in. It's on a rolling basis, meaning that the biggest part of the inspiration, in which if you want as well this talk is part of, but specifically we have what we call the Founders Meetups. So Founders Meetups are events that we run every 2 weeks, fully online, roughly at 7 p.m. So always in the evening, European time, which is suitable as well usually for the Americas. Not so much for people in Asia, but we try to fit it the time as much as we can. What do we do with Founders Meetups is that those are for us really the backbone of what eWorks is. There are an opportunity for you. We always start with a guest speaker, so a successful entrepreneur that will share their personal story. You can ask them questions, and then it's also a way to get beyond what you will learn normally in class, right? So not only to learn about the business models, how they grow their businesses, all the challenges that they experience, but as well if you want to ask open questions outside of a class environment, right? There is no participation evaluation and so on. It's really a way to connect with somebody and to learn what it means to build a company even beyond, the strategical part. After that, we offer everybody an opportunity to pitch your own project, right? And we've seen lately some people are shy about it, and this is really targeting anybody that never tried it. Don't worry, right? You can always come and pitch the project. The community, the public of the meetups is mostly Esade people. Everybody is entrepreneurial minded, and nobody's gonna steal your idea, right? Nobody's gonna come listen to your great idea about how to become a billionaire and steal it from you. Never happens. There are long reasons why that doesn't happen, but for the sake of the duration of this intervention, just trust me. So don't worry. You can always come. We always have space for around about 3 pitches. We try to keep the pitches super short. When I say short, I mean 30 seconds, which can be shocking to a lot of you. But if you really want to move forward and become an entrepreneur, 30 seconds or a minute is a very typical time for early stage presentation. So don't be scared about the time. If you're thinking about something, there are no stupid ideas, especially if you've never tried. We will give you feedback. So feel free to join any founder meetup. Book a slot, right? When you reserve a ticket for the founders meetup, they're free, but you need a ticket to get the Zoom link. You can choose, I want to pitch an idea, and then you will be contacted with further instructions. The idea is that you prepare, you rehearse a bit your pitch, again, 30 seconds, so shouldn't be an issue to rehearse it a bit. You can come, you can present it, we will give you feedback, the guest entrepreneur will give you feedback, the public will hear from you. So this is useful for 2 reasons. Main one, of course, you share the idea, you receive external feedback and validation from people with different experiences. Second, you also can connect with other people. So if you're looking for a co-founder, if you're looking for somebody that can join you on your project and your idea, that's also a great opportunity to do so. Finally, and this is a new thing that we've added in the last 12 months, at the end of every founder meetup, we have what we call the one-on-one meetings. So we have a pool of mentors, experts in different areas that go from funding to marketing to creating social businesses as well, to strategy, scaling up, and so on. And you can book a slot with them. And so those are 10 minutes a slot. So again, important to come prepared and to make the best out of it. But basically, the idea is that you always have an opportunity to talk to an expert about your project and to learn more about it. So, and to get their feedback. So that's for the inspirational part. Every 2 weeks, 2 founders meetups, you can join, learn from an expert entrepreneur, pitch your project or listen to other people pitching their project, get feedback on that idea, and as well book mentoring slots with our experts. Again, all for free, available to all for you. If out of coming to the founders meetups, sharing ideas, talking to other people, etc., something pops up and you really want to build something, we have a series of incubation facilities, which go from the physical ones here on campus that, of course, in the current situation are relatively limited, but we hope that by summer we can open it again. That means you can get an office space, physical office space for free to start your project. You can as well get, to use the address to incorporate your company. That's very helpful in some cases, especially for people not living in Spain. But as well, we do have virtual services for incubation, which means you can access office hours with experts, which are kind of longer meetings where you can get guidance. We can provide support on different topics that go from strategy to accounting to, for example, finding a lawyer, incorporating a company, getting a visa if you're not from the European Union, and so on and so forth. So really, the core idea of the incubation phase is to grow from idea to something a bit more tangible. It's on a rolling basis, meaning you can always enter. There's no fixed date, but as well, we filter for commitment. So if we don't want anybody to waste their time. So if we see that you're not committed, or if you decide to do something else, which is also fine, then we basically ask you kindly to leave your spot to somebody else that might need it more. But again, it's open. So inspiration on one side, incubation very open. And then we get to the third part, which is a bit the kind of the star of our activities, which is the Accelerator program. So What is the Accelerator program? It's a selective. This is the only selective program that we do. So we don't allow everybody in, but we do a pre-selection where we take teams, not individuals. There is a special track for people that have an idea and need a team, or for people that don't have an idea and want to join a team, but that's kind of a special selection track. The core idea of the Accelerator is that we take teams with a validated idea, and we help them grow their idea until they get either a product or service to the market or they scale it. The level of development and validation that we ask for an idea depends a lot on who's proposing it, so the seniority of the team, as well as the industry, right? As you can imagine, some projects can be much more complex and take much more time to develop than others. So we're going to do a pre-selection. The way the Accelerator works is that we basically work after the selection. So there is an initial selection, and we're gonna issue the call for project this week. So by the end of this week, you will be able to apply for the Accelerator program. The Accelerator program will start in June and will run until the end of September, right? So it's basically a 4-month program. It's based on weekly sprints. So every week there is something to do. It's fully remote. It has been fully remote even before COVID. So for us, it's not been a problem. We can manage. It's fully compatible with, for example, doing an internship or doing something else. Most of the work is asynchronous, meaning we're going to tell you via email what to do. You have a week to do it and report back. It's all in written form, so you can do it whenever you want. Of course, if you decide to, for example, join, so do an internship in between or do something else, that means you're going to have to work at night or in the weekend on your own project. That's the life of entrepreneurs, right? So weekly basis, we do have one meeting every week during the Accelerator program. That's usually on Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. European time. Again, we try to fit the time so that it works for most people. If somebody is in a very remote location and cannot join, we can figure out on a case-by-case how to keep up. But basically, that's it, yeah. Weekly sprints, teams will get dedicated mentors on the process, so on how to build their project, as well as get access to a pool of people that have expertise on specific areas that they can exclusively access during the duration of the Accelerator. As well, there are a lot of perks. For example, free credits with cloud services, AWS, Google Cloud, and so on. So we have a series of additional, perks and value that's delivered in kind, as well as, of course, experts that are giving lectures on specific topics overall, the duration of the full program. At the end of the program, we're going to select the best projects. Those projects can pitch in the final demo day, which will also be streamed in front of a panel of investors. I have a few more data about that, and we have a special guest that will also share their experience, but that's kind of the basic. So what does eWork do in general? Kind of brings you from idea to realization and early financing, if possible. Of course, you can enter at any point, right? If you don't have any idea, you just want to learn more, you're welcome to join the Founders Meetups. If you're already working on something and need some support, all of our incubation activities are available for you. If you have something more advanced, by the end of this week, I'll show you in a second where you can apply for the Accelerator program. We help you bring it to life and get financed. So just a few more things about the Founders Meetups. I told you most of it. We have 2 more Founders Meetups this academic year. So one is coming up next week on May the 5th. The second one is May 18th. And then we start again in October, right? So we always alternate. When the Accelerator program is ongoing, we don't have Founders Meetups, and the other way around. Because the idea is that the calendar is built around your academic year. And so during summer, most of you either have internships or something else. So if you're working on a startup, you're welcome to join the Accelerator. Else, we start again the meetups in fall, basically. You can find the link here as well. We're going to share the presentation afterward with all the participants, so don't worry about noting it down. Like same thing for the incubation. all that I mentioned to you. It's available by booking hours on our website. Link will come with the presentation afterward. Accelerator, I told you most about how it works, but I want to comment a few more things. One, the idea of the accelerator is really to help solid teams accelerate their projects, right? So if you're very early stage, we cannot do much, right? We will try to get in as many projects as we can and really not do the filter at the beginning, but ongoing. So the idea is that we really want people to be strongly motivated and believe on their idea. We don't want to judge too much the idea, but we want to really focus on the people. So if you're, for example, very young and you're really at your first attempt, you don't really know what you're doing, but you feel strongly about something, my recommendation will be come to the Founders Meetup, present the idea, get feedback on it, work on that feedback, and then present it to the accelerator, right? So you have a way to improve it a little bit. As well, again, we're going to try to take as many projects as possible, but we have limited capacity and resources. The accelerator is, as everything else that eWorks does, entirely free. We don't get any equity or any other form of financial and non-financial involvement in the project. So it's a service that Esade basically offers to all of you. And again, you can access it even after graduation. So if some of you doesn't make it, for whatever reason, into this edition of the accelerator, worry not, there is another edition coming up next year. So it's always ongoing, don't worry about it. Very important characteristic for all entrepreneurs is to be able to take feedback, right? So there will be a ton of opportunities to receive feedback. Some of that feedback might be negative on the idea itself. It's never personal, right? It's always a judgment of the idea, and it's done in the best spirit of helping you work on something that makes sense, that you can really develop and make it big. So take it with that spirit. And so, right, apply if you have something that you think is worth accelerating, but keep in mind that the core idea of the accelerator is taking validated ideas, meaning that you can prove that there is a real interest for the market, whatever the market is, for the solution you're proposing, and then help you build it. So in some cases, if there is not, then, sorry, but you can try again. As well, during the accelerator program, we will constantly evaluate commitment. If some team, for whatever reason, is not very committed, we'll have to unfortunately kick the teams out. So we have kind of a double system of, yellow and red cards. We will tell in advance, but then if somebody gets distracted, is not really making the best use of the program, sorry, but we need to focus on the teams that are. Just to give you an idea, and on the eWorks website, you can find the full list. You can see here a few of the companies that went through the accelerator program in the past years. You might have seen some of these names around. I want to as well stress a bit what happened last year. So the last edition has been so far the biggest one. Some projects that you might recognize. If you're living in Barcelona physically, you might know Cleta, the bicycle subscription. You will recognize the bicycles that have the yellow front wheel. That's Cleta. That's a project that went through the accelerator. As well, we had another project which changed name along the kind of from the time of the accelerator to now, that right after getting into the eWorks accelerator program, joined a Y Combinator, which for the ones of you that might not know it, it's probably the best accelerator program worldwide. To give you an idea, it's what the program that helped launch Airbnb, for example, or Dropbox as well, to give you just few names. Interestingly enough, this very year, so a few months ago, in Y Combinator, there was as well another project that went through the eWorks Accelerator program 2 years ago. So we are starting to build also a very large kind of international presence with some of our entrepreneurs being recognized, which is always good. Where do you get all the information, access the services, and by the end of this week, so Friday, you will be able to apply for the accelerator. Very simple, esade.edu/eworks. There you can find all the information. You can as well sign up for the newsletter if you haven't. We send out a newsletter every Monday. The newsletter announces upcoming meetups, information about the accelerator, what's going on with the projects we helped in the past, tons of job opportunities. So there are always very large job section in the end of every newsletter that talks about opportunities in the venture space. So startups that are hiring people, venture capital funds, so on and so forth. One thing that I also want to highlight, let me see, yes, is that we are working as well to strengthen the community, right? I've seen a few names here in the list of participants. Some of you are studying a master's degree, some of you are in the undergrad, and so on. And COVID notwithstanding, it's very difficult for people in different programs to get to know each other. And so what we're really working on is to facilitating this sort of connection. And so there's a new person on board. I will introduce her in a moment, Monica. And basically the idea is that we're really working on making a community about everybody that's interested in entrepreneurship or that became an entrepreneur after being at Esade, regardless of the fact that you studied, the bachelor in law or the MBA, the executive MBA, whatever that is. We try to bring everybody together so that there is a strong community of founders, right? Where do you get all this information? Well, there is a Slack channel you can join where we talk mostly about entrepreneurship and all of these opportunities. So the newsletter is kind of our way to unilaterally send out the communication, but you can also now do it two-way communication. It's very simple, esade.slack.com. You can join. We need to approve because we, of course, double check that people are specifically at Esade. Use your Esade email address to join. That's a way to get you pre-approved and to move forward, right? So who's in the team? Myself, I'm the manager of eWorks and the person you will find in every event, running the accelerator and so on. Together with me, and we kind of co-founded this together. That's Professor Jan Brinkman, who is more on the academic side and really kind of drives the development and the new ideas from the academic side. And as I was mentioning, Monica recently joined us to help build the community. You will find her online on Slack basically every day in any moment. You will find as well her posting on different social media, etc. So that's a great way to keep the connection. Now, before jumping to our guest and taking questions as well, there is one thing I want to share specifically to the students of the BBA, right? I know actually, I guess most of you participants or listeners later on to the recording are in the BBA. And so I want to share two core things here. That is, you have a great advantage on all students in other programs, which is that you have much more time, right? If you're working on an idea and you're at your first or second year, we run about 15 Founders Meetups every year. If you multiply that by 4, you get access to a ton of speakers, of different content and of opportunities to get feedback. So use that, right? Take the time and learn and really get to understand the core entrepreneurial spirit of asking for feedback, sharing ideas, and getting that feedback. Now, there are ways that you can, beyond what we do with eWorks, there are ways that you can as well get involved into other things, right? E3, the student organization, the organizer of this event, it's an amazing way to do that, right? They're organizing a lot of events and activities that can also help you get and try and test more ideas. If we look at the kind of track record, we see that a lot of entrepreneurs that graduated from the BBA were very active in the E3 community. So for the BBA students, my strong recommendation is to join the community, to work with them. That's a great way to do it. As well, there is one thing that kind of a self-promotion, but in the spirit of helping you out. If you're doing the BBA, you have one elective that you can take that is extremely useful for you if you want to become an entrepreneur. And that's called entrepreneurship. Very simple. Do not forget the name. It's an elective that's available, I think, for second and third years. For sure, third years, not sure about second years. Take it, okay? So next year, I'm going to teach it, but that's not the core point. The core point is that you have a structured way to get something very similar to what the students in the master program or the MBA program will get in terms of how to build a company and what are the key steps. So if you haven't done it yet and you are still on time, do join the, do sign up for the entrepreneurship elective in the next year. That will make your chances to get into a successful project later on much, much higher, because we'll give you basically all the core content, all the strategies, all the basics of how to build a successful startup. Okay, so maybe I'll send you the link as well so that you can incorporate in the follow-up email and people can have it. Now, all of this being said, I think we might have some questions, or
Not yet.
not yet. Okay, so if you have questions, I guess best way is put the questions in the chat so then we can interact. But we do have, I guess maybe I can stop sharing for a second so that the guest can see better. So we have a guest, Timothy. Hi.
Hi, Davide. How are you? Hi, everyone.
Thanks. Thanks for joining. Thanks for taking the time. Do you want to briefly introduce yourself, who you are, what are you doing right now, and then we get back to your experience with eWorks, maybe?
Yeah, sure. So I'm still a BBA student, so currently in my last year, and I had the chance to join the Accelerator last summer. So thank you for that, Davide, because I think I was quite early stage last June, so thanks for the chance. And yeah, so basically last June, so I had the chance to join eWorks, and yeah, basically I had a problem, a pain point, which was validated, a mini video, and I think, yeah, I had a vision of where I wanted to go. And yeah, today I'm here to share a bit the experience of what was 3 months with eWorks. And basically, yeah, after a few months, I had my deck and I had the chance to pitch to investors, venture capital. So for me, it was an amazing experience and learning. Right now, the project I was working on is on hold because I'm finishing my mandatory internship. It's an adventure builder, Antai, I don't know if you know it. So yeah, excited about sharing all my learnings with the Accelerator. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Yes, thanks, Tim. I will say no. Maybe kind of if you want to share your journey, even from before, right? Because I think we started meeting when you were in your, I guess, second year, if I go back in time. So kind of how you iterated on different ideas and what was the idea maybe that you joined the Accelerator with? I think it's interesting for people.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, actually, I think it was even the first year, David, I came to you at the eWorks with a mini deck presentation. And yeah, at that moment, I had no clue about entrepreneurship, of what was a landing page to validate your idea. So for sure, during the 2-3 first year of BBA, thanks to you and your constant feedback, I mean, and I did the elective as well, which was great. I had really the chance to, apart from the core skills of the BBA, to really grow as an entrepreneur, and especially in the validation phase, which you have to do when you're early stage. I remember once I came to you with 10 different ideas, and basically the homework you gave to me was, okay, you have to speak to him, and get feedback. And yeah, it was kind of tricky because I was like never finding really, oh, I want to do this idea is a good one to start it. And the Accelerator, so yeah, it was during lockdown. My mom and my sisters, they were watching a TV show which is called Shopping Queen in France. And from there, the idea was shoppers have to find the perfect outfit that's gonna flatter the best their body shape and the seam. And from there, I saw this first pain point, oh, it's difficult to dress well. And the idea I had at the beginning was really to create an app and a software that would include all the stylist rules and create a complete outfit for the shopper. So, I mean, I don't want to enter in depth with my project, but that was the starting point. I did a mini video prototype when I applied to eWorks. And basically, yeah, after we can go on with the stories, the mentorship, all the workshops, which were all amazing. Yeah.
Thanks. Maybe just briefly, without getting into too many details, and if people have questions, happy to answer, or you as well can answer. But kind of how has been, and be honest, now the time has passed. So how has been the experience of the Accelerator? And again, feel free to share, what worked, what didn't work. But I think it's interesting for people to see, to hear from somebody that had the real experience of the program.
Yeah, sure. So one of the main takeaways for sure was, I mean, you also mentioned, and I think we all agree on the importance of feedback. And you were saying each week we have the chance as members to have really slots with mentors, industry experts, serial entrepreneurs. And yeah, I mean, that was really crucial for me in all the process to have the chance of sharing my project with entrepreneurs who already did it, sometimes CTOs or just specialists in the industry of fashion. And each time, I mean, it was feedback, getting tasks to do, because I mean, I had projects before, and before the accelerator, often the feeling was I'm like alone in my room and okay, what should I do? It's you lose the motivation. So really to have like a structure, a program was key. After I had as well the chance of one of the mentors, Alex, he started to work really with me. So we started to have a close relationship, and this was really essential for me. Like in a way it's mentorship, but that's what is coaching, because when you start the journey, like you have a lot of ups and downs, and the downs to have people with who you can speak, that's great as well. So that was really important. Yeah.
Fantastic, thanks. Just, I think I have one more thing I want now to ask you to share, which I think is especially relevant again for people that are getting started, which is because you've been, as you mentioned, iterating potentially even from your first year. How many times did you change a project, or did your project kind of change the direction? No? Because as you know, there is this feeling of people, especially when getting started, to kind of get in love with their idea and not wanting to hear negative feedback.
Yeah. So just with the project of tests in fashion, from starting to D2C through going more a B2B approach, right? I mean, all this project already, there were like huge changes. And basically, no, each project was in a way a learning of, even if it's not working out, just to have a talk with this guy, I could learn a lot about one industry, or maybe I was just doing a little prototype with a design tool Figma. So it was a learning on product development. So on each project, there was like always a great learning. And with TAS, my last project, which has gone much farther, I mean, that's my feeling. And you always told me that, David, since the first day. It's often especially for BBA students, KPIs, the indicator is learning. So maybe in 2 months, I'm able to have an MVP and sell it in the product. So as far as I will go, more I will learn. So I had always this in my mind as well. Yeah.
Thanks. And I mean, I have to say from my side, I think, again, I've seen kind of your evolution. And again, I see a lot of people kind of coming to me for feedback over the years. And oftentimes early on, it's rather easy to, let's say, kind of make a guess about, of course, I'm going to be helping everybody, but kind of making a guess about, okay, who's going to continue and really try to build something for real versus who's going to stop after a while. And one of the core elements is really to see the motivation and the willingness to get feedback, right? As Tim mentioned, he came to me with all sorts of crazy ideas, and oftentimes I might have even told, sometimes, okay, this doesn't make any sense, do something else. And some people might take that a little bit personally and get offended and then stop working, versus the very positive attitude of saying, okay, let's understand why this doesn't work and let's try to change what doesn't work and let's try to build something that actually works, is really one of the core traits that help in early stage entrepreneurship, really building something and continuing to grow. No? And I think as well, in your current internship, you are as well in touch with startups, and maybe also for the people, is that a way you can apply your learnings?
Yeah, for sure. Basically, as well as the last 2 months in Canary Islands, I met a lot of entrepreneurs. It was weird because I met them at the beach surfing, but there were like a lot of digital nomads who came to Canary Islands. And once you speak with other entrepreneurs or people who at least have tried a startup, I mean, right now I'm not working on it. It's on standby. I don't know if I will have time to go on it full time again in the future, but for sure it's like a great hook for any conversation with other people who work in tech or entrepreneurship. And as well, I mean, I'm honest with you, the internship at Antai, so one of the mentors of eWorks, Simon Perez, he gave me like the first intro, whole team, you should check Antai, I know them. And basically in all my interviews, that's like, 50%, it's talking about my experience with my project, because I have no real experience. And that's why, for example, I think I got my internship. So for sure, I mean, people shouldn't just go for the project of, oh, I really want to. Of course, everyone wants to create a unicorn, but it's not only about that. I mean, it's be ready to fail, and if you enjoy the journey, it's the most important thing, in my opinion. That's why I push all my friends as well when they come up with an idea. Yeah, let's go. Let's do a landing page. Let's start something. But after, it's everyone who decides.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tim. And as you mentioned, by the way, so during COVID, somehow Canary Island became one of the core destinations for digital nomads. So the fact that you were already there probably was also good way to meet with other people. No? Okay, then I guess best thing to do now is see if anybody has any questions. Could be about the Accelerator program, could be about anything that we do at eWorks as well. If you want, also to ask the team about his experience, etc. You can hear from that. So just feel free to share any doubts you might have. And yeah, I guess maybe Anna, if you can, yeah.
So I think that Bruno wants to ask a question.
Yes, thank you, Anna. I have a question for you both. Well, in the case on team, and then maybe sorry, I don't remember your name. eWorks manager.
Davide.
Davide. This sorry. May you give a feedback from your experience seeing a lot of entrepreneurs, but when did you feel that? So what was your like concept? How did you consider your idea when you reached out to eWorks, or for you, Davide, how mature were the ideas when people reach to you and tries to talk with you? Because it's like it's only, oh, I've got a crazy idea, let's see if somebody likes it, or people comes, or you team, did you go already with a plan, or how was it?
Okay, yeah. So regarding this, I mean, with Davide, there was like pure trust. I mean, I had never this scare of, oh, he's gonna think this idea is stupid for sure. But after, if you have an idea, for sure, what I recommend you to do, it's like to have at least this minimum structure of, okay, I have identified this problem, my solution is this one. I'm gonna maybe do a mini check about the competition, what exists in Spain, find my unique value proposition, try to define it in one sentence. Like all this, I mean, you can do it in 1 week. You don't have to do a validation of 500 answers of a survey, but try at least to have it a minimum, a structure, basically, yeah, the first version of the deck where you have in mind where you want to go and what you need, to make it more efficient. I would say that.
Yeah, no, I will say in terms of ideas, it depends on what you want to do. No, so if you want to come and do a 30-second speech to a founders meetup, you just have a crazy idea in mind, you can do it. If you want to apply for the accelerator, of course, that's not enough. So my recommendation will always be a bit of what Tim was saying. One, the moment you have a crazy idea, first thing you should do is at least check what's already existing that's somehow similar. Or comparable, or that solves some problem that can be comparable. It takes to do a first check. Oftentimes it can take an hour or 2 hours, and you have no idea how many people come to me with, oh, I had this crazy idea, I want to do this and that, and they had no idea that somebody's doing the same thing. Without making it too long, the fact that somebody else is building the same thing you want to do, it's not a negative per se. Actually, in many cases, this could be good validation, but you need to be aware, right? You need to be aware, and you need to observe very carefully what others that are building something similar to you are doing, because you can learn from their mistakes, you can leverage their experience, you can talk to their customers to improve potentially your product and so on. So try to get at least a minimum, a core idea of what's going on in that space, and as well, if you're trying to join an industry, what are the current trends? Read about it, go on Google Trends, see what's going on. All of these takes you a few hours, but you get a better idea. And if we need to have a meeting, then it makes it much more profitable. You can use the time better. In general, kind of my recommendation will be, as I mentioned, we have 3 phases, right? Inspiration, incubation, acceleration. Inspiration, so founders meetups, pretty much anything goes. You had an idea, do a quick check. You can do it, the hour before, during the meetup, whenever, and then you present it. It's 30 seconds. You're not wasting anybody's time. If it's, doesn't make any sense, we're going to tell you, no hard feelings, that's fine. If you book an office hours slot, that's a little bit longer. That's a usually 20 minutes meeting. Try to have it more structured. Now, as Tim was saying, whenever he will book a meeting, try to come with a clear idea of what you want to do, why it makes sense, to whom is it adding value, right? Who are your target customers? Why would it be interesting for them? If they're already competitors, why do you think your idea is better, and so on and so forth. So try to get an idea. Of course, if there's something you don't know, be open and share. It's not right. It's not a class, but try to figure out as much as you can, because that's something that anyway you will have to do. For the Accelerator program, we'd like to, as mentioned, ideally we want to see at least that there is a clear validation that there is market demand for whatever you're trying to sell, right? So how do you validate that there is market demand? Maybe you have built a quick landing page and you have people doing pre-signups, right? Sell it before you make it for something that you haven't done yet, but there is an interest. Maybe you can show that there is a growing trend into something. Maybe you can show that there is a similar company, maybe in a different country, doing something similar. Or maybe you can tell us that you've been working at a certain company and that you know by experience that something is relevant, so on and so forth. So we want to know what you're going to build, why you're going to build it, and you will see if you want to apply for the Accelerator by Friday. We're going to publish the application form. It's rather detailed, so we're going to ask you some questions. There is an amount of time to complete it, so you can also see how that evolves. But that's a bit the idea, right? So if you just an idea, join a meetup and share it, or talk to any of your friends. If they're studying here, their feedback is probably relevant. Talk to potential customers all the time. You should never stop doing that. That's one of the core elements that will help you build a better company. If it's a bit more developed, book an office hours, we can discuss it, and then you can apply to the Accelerator.
Okay, thank you both.
Absolutely.
I believe that Mare has a question too. So
Hi, Mare.
Hi. Ciao. I was wondering, sometimes when you want to create a startup, you don't want to do it alone.
Yes.
Is the eWorks a great place to find co-founders, or do you even promote having co-founders in a startup and so on? And if you could help me out with this.
Yes. So there. So short kind of premise to this is that whatever you want to do in terms of being a potential founders, any external entity, eWorks included, it's a help. We can help, but you as entrepreneur, you need to be doing the work, right? So if somebody's looking for a co-founder, it's kind of the job of the entrepreneur to be contacting people. Maybe if you're looking for a complementary profile, maybe reaching out to other universities that have usually more technical degrees and so on, trying to find somebody, even talking to people online, etc. So this being said, we can help in two main ways, plus a bunch of additional ones. Main ways we can help. Again, share your idea in Founders Meetups. That's the best way for the community. Usually the kind of community of people that are very active over a specific academic year, it's kind of set. We're talking about 50, 60 people in general. They tend to join all the meetups. Do that as well. Share it. Somebody that could be interested can join you. We've had that happen multiple times in the past. So that's one way. The second way, and this is specific to the Accelerator program, but there is no guarantee that it works, is that there will be a special track for the Accelerator for people that can apply. If they're looking for a co-founder, they can say, okay, I have the idea. This is my project. This is my validation. I am missing this profile specifically. And then what we will do is that we will also allow people that have no idea, but want to join an early stage project on a specific topic to self-apply. And then there will be sort of a matchmaking there, right? So let's say you want to join, I don't know, an e-commerce company, and somebody that's building an e-commerce is looking for a profile like yours that knows a lot about web design, for example, then there could be a match there. But again, this is a way. My recommendation is if you need somebody on your team, or if you want to join somebody else's team, be active. So join as many events as you can, right? Join the meetups that we organize, as well as I was mentioning, E3 organizes a ton of great events. The Startup Turbo comes to mind. That's a great place to find, to find potential co-founders and so on. So any event helps. One additional thing that we do from time to time, but there is no, let's say, calendar for it, is that whenever the opportunity kind of comes to us, we organize usually online matchmaking event. Usually is with technical universities, right? So engineering, or in some cases we've done it also with medical schools. And usually what happens is that if they have teams that have ideas, but need somebody with a business background to join them, we organize some online event. the way to be informed about these events will be to subscribe to the eWorks newsletter. Whenever something comes up, we will publish there.
Right. Davide, can I just add one thing?
Yes, please.
Yeah, because that's actually the point that I mean, I heard it so much about friends and everything that they're like, oh, I need a co-founder, or I need funding to start this and to build the app. And yeah, I mean, team is going to be crucial for the success for sure. But I think a great way to attract talent, I don't know, a software engineer who's earning 200K at Amazon. I mean, if you've done a prototype, if you have sailed already, did some sales, and you have a letter of intent of a potential big customer without having the product, more you've done on your own, easier it's going to be after to attract like a crazy good tech guy. So, I mean, that's why even if you're solo at the beginning, you can do a lot of things with the no-code tools nowadays, a prototype, a mini MVP, and it's going to make it much easier to attract these talents than if you just go to the event saying, oh, I have this idea and a pitch of 30 seconds. So I think there's a lot you can do on your own, and it will make it easier after to attract a top talent in tech, for example. In my case, for example, 1 month ago, I met my co-founder at a party. I mean, I had already everything. I showed him, hey, I got an offer.
It was a COVID-safe party for the public, just clarifying. Please go ahead.
Yeah, it was in Canary Islands. It was okay. So,
sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
So I think if you've done a lot before, I mean, you show your motivation. I've did this, I've validated this. Now we just need to make it happen. It's going to be easier to attract the great talent. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, the more you can do, the more it shows usually positive attitude, and it also makes it easier usually to get somebody as well on board.
So thank you very much. Does everyone have any question left? Please do not hesitate to open your camera or share it on the chat.
Right. Else, I think, no, you're going to share the recording as well. I'm going to give you the presentation so you can include it. And yes, if people have any comments, there is also my email on the presentation, so feel free to reach out. Else, best of luck, and I look forward to see many of you on May 5th at the next Founders Meetup.
Thank you very much, Davide.
Thank you very much.
Organizing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Davide.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Close, or?